Shalom, shalom. In the name of Yahuwah, Yahushua HaMashiach. Um, well, no, it's been a while since I've been doing a video and just been working a lot. And I had to get a new laptop and get my internet reconnected. Um, Lately, I've been doing a study in Esau and the book of Yasher and other places. And um, I'm not. This is not my Esau study, by the way. For those of you who know me and are close to me, that's common at some point, but it just seems like every time I'm about to do it, um, something happens. Yahuwah reveals more to me, and I've been reading, studying. I've been reading the book of Adam and Eve. I've been reading Second Ezra. I'm going to read Second Baruch. I've just been all over the place. I don't know what Yahuwah is trying to lead me to, but um, I just with everything going on. But I come tonight in a heavy heart because what has transpired with this whole George Floyd thing that we witness here, we've seen in the news as of late. My heart is heavy because um, I saw the video, and usually I don't get into the news or politics. I'm about Yahuwah. I'm about what the Torah says in the matter. But the fact of the matter is that this has to be addressed because this is a warning. And what I'm about to say, you're not going to like. But this has to be addressed because we have to know who our slave masters are in this captivity. And yes, I said the word captivity because we are in captivity. Both houses of Yasharal are in captivity, and yet here we are in captivity. We don't even recognize each other, but yet we're waking up. The so-called what you call the African American community, which are not. They're from either the tribe of Yehuda, Benjamin, or Louis. They're waking up to who they are. They're returning the Torah, calling on the name of Yahuwah. And then you got the northern tribes, and like myself, which I believe, a lot of us, and again, it's not about skin color, but a lot of us in the northern tribes are waking up, and yet we're not recognizing each other for who we are and saying, you know what, maybe, yeah, I know you're from the southern kingdom, descended from that, but hey, we're from the northern kingdom. Let's get together. Let's prove the world that we do love one another, and it doesn't matter about our skin color, and it doesn't matter about how we look. It's about Yahuwah and His Torah. That's what brings us together. That's why the world teaches that Torah is to be done away with, because the Torah brings us together, because it's about just weights and just measures. It is the mind of Yahuwah and a scroll. And when you do away with that, you put in man's doctrines, you twist it up, you confuse people. It's really modern day witchcraft. I don't want to get too sidetracked in this, but the fact of the matter is that you realize there's a realization of who's who, little by little. And what you're seeing with the whole virus, what you're seeing with just the whole this event with the whole George Floyd thing, it's Big Brother flexing their muscles. And you read a book of Yasher, talks about Nimrod being a hunter, a met, and this is kind of a precursor of my Esau study. There's so much in this, and there's so many different directions, but this is kind of a precursor to that. The fact that it says that Nimrod was a great hunter. And what was he a hunter of? He was a hunter of men. He hunted men and he killed them. And there's even some that say that Nimrod became a giant and became a Nephilim. He had Nephilim features. Um, we don't have any scripture for that, but that's just conjecture. So you got that going on, and then later on in the same book of Yasher, you have Nimrod hunting and Esau hunting, and they were envious of each other because they were hunters. And Nimrod was envious of Esau. And Esau saw Nimrod and he crouched and he actually cut off his head, killed him. And of course, way before that, Nimrod had a dream that one of Abraham's seed would kill him, which is actually why Abraham left Babel and went to the land of Canaan. So there's a lot of stuff here, and when we read the stuff, we think, okay, this doesn't really matter, but it really does matter because Yahuwah reveals the end from the beginning. So what we're seeing these last days here is we're seeing a world that has been shut down because of a virus, which I think is man-made. I think there's more to it, because they want to flex their muscle and see how much control over they have over people. And then you have this George Floyd situation happening, which even sets the thing even off, because these Satanists, they believe that the shedding of blood is what gives them more power. That is why abortion is allowed. It doesn't matter if you vote Democrat or Republican. Abortion's going to be in place. See, that's the manipulation tactic, is the fact that, oh, well, if you vote Republican, they're all Christians or conservatives that are against abortion. But behind the scenes, they're all at these blood sacrifice type of ceremonies, and they have to be. That's what you have to get yourself into. That's the type of vow that you have to be involved to be in the higher ups. So what I'm elaborating here, and again, I don't like to share my opinion much, but what I'm elaborating here is the fact that what we have witnessed of this George Floyd situation is a human sacrifice. I believe that this has been orchestrated. I believe, because it smells Esau all over the place, because the guy wrote a bad check. Who gets executed and killed like that for a bad check? I believe this is orchestrated for a reason. And the reason why all this is happening is because this captivity that we're in, and yes, we're in captivity. Let's be honest here. Yes, we guard the name of Yahuwah and we keep the feast days. We do all those things. But let's be honest. Does everybody keep the seventh day Shabbat? Does everybody keep the feast days on the correct calendar? How come you can be, on Christmas or Easter, you can be off, especially Christmas, a pagan holiday that's not of Yahuwah. But yet, when you come to keep Passover or Pesach, unleavened bread, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom HaKippurim, or even Sukkot, how come is it that you have to request those days off? And there's a legitimate question for that, because we're in the land of captivity. Surely we were able to serve Yahuwah and do the things of Yahuwah the best that we can. However, we are in captivity whether we like it or not. And yes, we're as the bride of Yahuwah, as Yasharal, we are remarried to the blood of Yahusha. However, we are still under a curse. And this is controversial, and a lot of you are not going to like this. And like I said, I'm not here to tickle the ears. I'm here to tell it like it is, and this is just based on studying a lot of scriptures. Because again, I've been doing this Esau study for a while, for the last couple of years. I've been back and forth with it, and as well as reading other stuff. But in Devarim chapter 31, Yahuwah tells us how He's going to bring us back in the land, and that's why in the book of Acts, Ma'aseh Shlachim, that the Talmudim, the disciples of Yahusha, they asked, will you at this time restore the kingdom of Yasharal? In other words, you're saying, hey, are you going to regather us from the four corners of the earth now that you've remarried both houses of the Commonwealth of Yasharal? And that's what it's about. It's about regathering. And yes, the Christians, you guys, think you're going to get raptured out of here. And there's no scripture for that, because I have another study that I've done in the book of Jubilees proving that it's the wicked that get taken out, not the righteous. But that's another story. We're not going to study that today. There's so many different sidetracks, and I want to stay on point. But the fact of the matter is that we're in captivity because we're still under a curse, because we're in captivity. We're scattered because in Yehezekiel chapter 37, it's a resurrection chapter. When those who are left at the coming of Yahusha, which is those who survived the tribulation, as well as the 144,000 that are in the wilderness for 3.5 years, which come back with Yahusha, what's happened with that is you got that going on, plus the resurrection, the first resurrection, which starts the millennium. That is what ends our captivity. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you're seeing all these things happening. And then you read in the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus, when Moses, came and told Pharaoh, let my people go, what was it that the Pharaoh did? He gave him more work. He didn't provide straw. He made their lives even more difficult. And I'm not sure if after this virus thing, things are going to get normal, whatever normal is. They're pushing for this vaccine. They're trying to bring some normalcy, but I think more than anything, they're just trying to bring confusion among people and see who are awake and who are not awake. But we are in captivity. We're in a confused state of mind. And the reason why I say that, and I've just been meditating this a lot lately, is the fact that, for example, government says that, a woman has a choice to kill her baby, to have an abortion. But yet at the same time, when this virus is going on, you have no choice but to stay home. See, the Yahuwah, life is life and death is death. And as a matter of fact, some of you right now are celebrating Shavuot, I'm not going to get in a calendar argument because, hey, you guys are trying. I'm not going to get in the case and all that because, there's just some people that are not quite there. They don't have that conviction. But the first Shavuot, which is in the book of Jubilees, and I highly recommend reading it before passing judgment about what's scripture and what's not scripture. I advise reading it and then deciding for yourself. But in the book of Jubilees, the first Shavuot was Yahuwah making a covenant with Noah that he would never flood the earth again, and the fact that Noah and his descendants were not to shed blood. Because before the flood, you had the Nephilim, which were the offspring of the giants, or the offspring of the fallen angels, which became the giants. With that going on there, they're shedding of blood and drinking of blood. That's actually where we get the whole vampire thing from. So all blood is going to be required in the end. That's why Yahuwah has to destroy the heavens and the earth with fire before the New Jerusalem comes down. Because it has to be purified. He has to recreate everything. So every shedding of blood is going to be required. So the Yahuwah, life is life and death is death. It doesn't matter how you die, it's going to be required in that. And what I mean is like murder, because you're not supposed to murder. That's one of the 10 Commandments. And so when it talks about captivity, when I'm talking about captivity as well as the confusion and manipulation and fear mongering, it's all form of witchcraft. And I've just been thinking about this a lot lately, and that's why my heart's been really heavy about everything that's just been going on. And, um, this whole COVID thing, for example, it's a form of witchcraft. In the book of Jubilees, it says that these spirits are the diseases. And I believe these are created. I believe this is all fallen angel stuff, demon, fallen angel stuff that's been orchestrated because let's be honest, behind the scenes, the government is in line with these fallen angels, which we would so-called call aliens, which people would think they're aliens, but they're not. They're really fallen angels. That's the deception of that. It's another study. So you have that going on. Plus, you got the demons that are doing their thing because Hasatan, or in the Book of Jubilees, he's called Mass Demon. There's many different names. Basically, they're basically doing their work, and it says that all these spirits Yahuwah has over all the nations. That's why America is not a Christian nation. Well, let's get it correctly. They say it's a Christian nation, but it's in disguise of Baal worship, which is another study, and another revelation that Yahuwah gave me after I read the 12, the testaments of the 12 patriarchs. But it's in disguise of Baal worship because the day of rest is Sunday. It's all about the sun. Christmas, Easter, it's all sun worship, even the J-Man. And sorry, folks, Jesus and Yahushua are not the same, and that's another study. But the fact of the matter is that people right now are under a spell right now, and so you got that going on, the confusion of what death is, what is murder. You have the confusion of the role of the household, where you have men acting like women and women acting like men. And because of that, that's why you have people that are transforming themselves. And I know there's going to be some people that are going to be offended on this, but that's the reason why you have a lot of this going on. And I hate to say it, but you see a lot of it in the churches because, Jezebel is affiliated with Baal worship because Jezebel introduced Baal worship into Yasharal, which is why I believe Christianity is a disguise of Baal worship. But what you have here is people don't know their roles, and so they're confused. So what happens is the men act effeminate while the women act masculine. And that's why there's a lot of marriages that are failing out there because people don't know their role. Because you have this feminist movement where these women are saying, "Oh, we can do the same thing the men are," and they hate their husbands, they belittle their husbands, and there's a tolerance of it, and that's why people are growing up, and that's why there's a lot of broken homes going on because of that. And Yahuwah has revealed a lot of that in my own life and my own way of growing up, and it's a come to Yahusha moment on this. So you have that going on. It's captivity, folks. It's captivity. When you were living in a land that is contrary to Torah, it's captivity. And going back to this George Floyd situation, this is a warning. This was a warning from Yahuwah. This was, in my opinion, probably planned out. This was a human sacrifice, and you know what? Say what you want, but that's a fact. What you saw there was a human sacrifice. What you're seeing here with this whole COVID virus thing, with a lot of people dying, I think it's a cover up. I think there are some people that may be dying from it, but it's not as many as what the numbers are saying, because there was an article of a man in Colorado that died of alcohol poisoning, but yet they diagnosed him with COVID. you have to ask yourself what's going on. I mean, if this is really true, then what about the other people that are dying? How come, we're seeing celebrities getting this COVID stuff? How come we're seeing higher ups get this? There's just something that just doesn't add up. And like I said, it's witchcraft. Your own country, your nation is practicing witchcraft. And I like to say that for those that are not a covenant with Yahuwah, that you have a chance to open up your eyes, because in this book of Second Ezra, it says that Yahuwah only has a small cluster. There's only going to be a small group that's going to be saved. And being saved does not mean that, I took an immersion in the name of Yahusha and that's it. Being saved means you're going to be here. You're going to either be here at the coming of Yahusha, or you're going to be part of the first resurrection. Our hope is not rapture. Our hope is resurrection. If you're in the grave in Sheol, it's resurrection. If you're alive at His coming, then your hope is to be part of the regathering in the land of Yasharal, not that faking gathering that happened back in 1948, which we know who's in the land. Esau is in the land. That's another study, but which is part of my Esau study. And if you don't believe me, check out Yehezekiel chapter 36. Tells you who's in the land right now. That is still a hard pill for me to swallow. I'm still based on everything I learned in the so-called Hebrew Roots Messianic movement. That was a hard pill to swallow. But you know what? If you're teachable, Yahuwah will show you, and through His Word. You gotta be teachable. You can't, when you disagree with somebody, you can't have a hissy fit. You can't go out and have a hissy fit, and then that's it. That's just not how we're supposed to act. We're supposed to be Bereans. We're supposed to be teachable. But yet the world teaches you that, it's a sense of entitlement type of mentality. That I'm entitled for this, I'm entitled for that. And it's got to be my way or no way at all. We're spoiled rotten. That's also part of proof that we're in captivity. The fact that we're spoiled rotten, we think we can get whatever we want, and we don't. It's a huge deception. And I'm thankful to Yahuwah that I'm awake, and I'm doing this video to wake those up and open their eyes, because there may be some tough times coming. I think we're gonna have a busy hurricane season. I think there's gonna be a lot more things coming down the pike. And you know what? I don't want to be right about this. I really don't want to be right about this, but it's just my heart's been real heavy on this, and I just I pray for those that are scattered abroad, and I my heart's telling me to just encourage, Yahuwah put in my heart, just encourage those that are scattered, that are alone in this walk, that you're not alone, that under the banner of our name of our Elohim, Yahuwah, and under His Torah, nothing can destroy us. He'll protect us as long as you're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that's pretty much it as far as what I want to say. We're in captivity. Things are going to be done right in front of you that are going to just make your stomach ache, to make your stomach turn, because these folks, these elitists, they're coming out. They're what Yahuwah is revealing in the light. And don't think that this is a new thing that's happening with this whole George Floyd thing and this whole virus thing. This has been orchestrated and planned out, and I'm sure there are some guinea pigs that were tried out before they actually did this stuff here. So, bid you all shalom in the name of Yahuwah, Yahushua HaMashiach, and I love you all, and you all be safe out there, and just remember who you serve. Remember the vow. If you took a mikvah in the name of Yahushua, remember that vow you made, because a vow is to everything. And it's going to be good versus evil coming up. It's going to be Jacob versus Esau coming up. And whether you want to believe this or not, this race war that's trying to be orchestrated is Esau, who rules over us, who's ruling over us, who's over the higher powers. They're creating this race war because they know who Ephraim and Yehuda are. And what you're seeing, what you're witnessing, and this is just my opinion, is you're seeing both houses warring against each other because they don't recognize each other. And it's just like the time when Yehuda and Yehusuf were warring against each other in Mitzrayim, because they didn't because yes, Yehusuf recognized Yehuda, but Yehuda did not recognize Yehusuf. And yet here we are again before the end of this captivity, that both houses are not recognizing each other. Yes, they're both waking up. They're both coming to the Torah and the truth, and they're reading the books that were taken away. The restoration of the name, the restoration of the feast. But they're not recognizing each other because everybody's looking over to the land where the imposters are at, the Hasmodeans. Which, if you don't know where I'm coming from, I recommend checking out the God Culture YouTube page. They pretty much are in line as far as that subject goes, and they have proof of it through scriptures. But just like how Yehuda and Yehusuf are about to go each other's necks, it's exactly what's happening right now. Except we're not recognizing each other. Because Yehuda is bitter because they were brought here in slave ships. While Ephraim, they just lost their identity. And they're not recognizing each other. It's time, and I pray that we start recognizing each other and saying, you know what? I may not look the same as you. I may not act the same way or talk the same way as you. But you know what? I'm a brother. And whether it's through bloodline, whether we're one of the 10 tribes, or whether we're not. It's about just weights and just measures. Because you know what? The nations are laughing at us because we're trying to figure out who we are. We're waking up, but we're still just beating each other over the head in certain things. Mistreatment of certain peoples, and thinking, oh, the white man's Esau. The white man is not Esau. Esau is a bloodline. They are mixed. Just like 12 tribes of Yasharal are mixed. So is Esau, because Esau is a counterfeit. The synagogue of Satan is talking about in Revelation that Yahushua warns us about is Esau, the Amalekites. So while we're all focusing, oh, Zionism and this and that, here we are back home, United States, and all other places in the world having this race war because we can't get our act straight because we lost our identity and we lost the Torah. It's only who Yahuwah selects that's going to come to the realization there. Because Yahuwah did kill some people in Mitzrayim. In the book of Yasher, he did kill some people in Mitzrayim that didn't believe him. And you could probably say the same here, but the reason why things are happening the way they are is because this captivity is coming to a close. So that's a little bit of a preview of my Esau study. I had to talk about captivity. May do another video soon. This is just try to get back on the things there, but I hope y'all are baruch, and y'all be safe out there, and remember to have a sound mind, and take care of yourselves. In Yahushua's name.